Ah, the humble potato can be upgraded so exquisitely by making a potato au gratin. Really delicious, really easy. Let's learn how. Any vegetable can be under a layer of toasted cheese and breadcrumbs. That's what the gratin part refers to. So we're going to do a potato gratin, and there are two really important things to think about. One, use the right pan, and two, slice the potatoes properly. So what's the right pan? Importantly, it can't be more than 2 inches deep. Why? Well, because you want that air from the oven to really brown the top nicely, giving us that perfect gratin crust. We also want a nice wide surface area because everybody loves the top of potato gratin best. So let's make sure we have a lot of that to go around. I'm going to use a 10-inch skillet for this potato gratin. So let's talk about the potatoes. Which potato to use? Well, if you want a gratin where you can distinguish the slices more, you're going to use a Yukon Gold. If you want a gratin that is more uniform, then use a russet. It has more starch in it, it will break down a little more, and you'll have a more solid potato gratin. We're going to use a russet today. We're going to peel it. You don't have to peel it, but it's more uniform in look, more classic if you do. We've got some potatoes that are peeled here, and the important thing about slicing them is they must all be the same thickness. Let's start by turning on our skillet and starting our cream base. We're going to put about 1.5 cups of our half and half in this pan, and we're going to start to simmer it with some flavors. So that flavor happens to be garlic. I'm going to smash this garlic clove, and then I'm going to pop that into the cream. That's going to uniformly flavor that cream so that when we actually put the potatoes in, all the potatoes will have that same uniformly flavored cream base. Now we can slice the potatoes because once that cream comes to a simmer, it's going to simmer for about 10-15 minutes. So I'm going to use a slicer. Now I'm going for potatoes that are about 1/4 inch thick. A slicer really makes quick work of this, and you're assured that all the slices are going to be uniformly thick. Uniform slices will cook uniformly, and that's what we really need to happen in our potato gratin. Once you have your potatoes all sliced and your cream has been simmering for a little while, we're going to turn that off, and we're going to season this with salt, pepper, and a little bit of freshly grated nutmeg. Remember, this is the only time the potatoes are going to get really seasoned well, so you want this to have a good salty taste. The potatoes are going to dilute that. We're going to start putting our potatoes in, and there's no rhyme or reason here. You don't have to make a fancy pattern, but we do want all the potatoes individually coated with the cream. As you put your potatoes into that cream mixture, you're going to need to add more of your leftover half and half so that you can cover the potatoes ever so slightly with liquid. Now for my last layer of potatoes, I've saved some pretty slices, and I am going to try and make it look a little more uniform here on the top. Just go around in a concentric circle and get those potato slices looking pretty. Now let's add a little more cream just to make sure that we've got almost covered potatoes. Push them down into the liquid. So here we go, cheese on top. I'm using true Parmigiano Reggiano. Again, when there are very few ingredients in a recipe, you want to make sure they're the very best ingredients you can use. So true Parmesan here on top, and then we're going to dot it with some butter. We're going to send it into a preheated 350-degree oven. So that potato gratin is going to take anywhere from 50 to 60 minutes, depending on how thick you sliced your potatoes. Let's take a look. Oh, gorgeously brown on top. Here's a little paring knife. Just go in and do a few pokes in different areas and make sure the potatoes are tender. They're gorgeous. Perfect. Now it's really hot, so you can't serve this just yet. You need to let it cool, but in the meantime, it's going to continue to absorb any excess liquid. What we'll do right now is garnish it with a few thyme leaves, and then we're going to put just a little bit more cheese on, if you'd like to. This is going to be delicious. It's going to support whatever dinner you're making, and it'll make everybody super happy.